Happy Thursday, everybody. It's Chamber Check-In time. And today I have the City of Boise's Parks and Rec Director, Doug Holloway, with us today. Hi, Doug.
Well, hey, Paul, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I was walking through the Rose Garden yesterday in Julia Davis, and, the blood pressure drops when you walk through the Rose Garden. I was delivering some Operation Thank You packets to the Boise Art Museum, the Idaho Black History Museum, and the Zoo Boise. And in between there's just a beautiful park. And I'm so glad to be able to talk with you today and help educate the listeners on Parks and Rec and the services and products. But before we get to that, and you, Doug, I get to thank our series sponsor. It's Delta Dental of Idaho. And as you know, Doug, the Delta Dental of Idaho provides best-in-class dental insurance benefits to Idahoans and businesses, and they've been doing it for over 50 years. And with that, I'm going to share a fun factoid from their Tooth Truth series. Here we go.
Cavities are 100% preventable, and most plans actually cover those routine cleanings at 100%. You're going in and there's nothing out of pocket for you. Get your teeth cleaned. It feels so good.
Thanks, Delta Dental. Okay, Doug, it's been how many years since you've been the director or involved with the City of Boise Parks and Rec?
Well, I've actually been with the department, Paul, for 21 years. I spent the first 11 years as the superintendent of recreation. So I oversaw the recreation division within Parks and Recreation. So I did that for about 11 years and then was appointed the director of the department in 2012. So this fall will be 10 years that I've sat in that seat. But it's been an amazing ride. And, when you're in a position like a park and recreation director position, it's such a impactful position. You get to see that proverbial fruits of your labor in the work that you do in the community. You get to see what kind of impact it has on neighborhoods and has on our children, has on essentially our entire population. That's a very rewarding experience and something that not everybody gets to do in the job that they have. So I tell people, which you probably do as well, Paul, I've got the greatest job in the world. And you hear that from people all the time, but I truly, truly mean that in the position that I'm in.
Well, the parks are a huge reason why people move here and stay here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the kind of the 30,000 foot view of what is under the direction, Doug?
Love to do that, Paul. And, it's kind of a double-edged sword in today's world in the city of Boise, where we have a lot of people that are not completely happy about growth. And then you have people that, certainly are maybe in the middle, but those that like to see activity happening in the community. And I'm on that side with what we're doing in Parks and Recreation. We believe that growth, if managed appropriately, is good for the city. And it's good for us because we collect funding from growth in the form of impact fees. And so there's actually a byproduct that we receive a benefit to build parks and add amenities to parks based upon that growth. And that growth pays for those services that taxpayers don't. So from that perspective, we really believe growth is a good thing in Boise and support that as long as it's managed appropriately. But our department's made up of 6 divisions. We have an administrative division which oversees all of the reservations in parks and all of our special events. We have a park division that oversees all of our park business and all of the maintenance of our parks. We have a recreation division, which we like to call the fun division, because they get to play. They get to utilize what our park people do to put things in place in parks so that then we have softball leagues and basketball leagues and all kinds of fun things that kids do out in the parks that are really maintained by the park side. But the recreation team gets to have that fun in creating those programs for our citizens. Zoo Boise is one of our divisions and is part of Parks and Recreation. Foothills and Open Space is a division in Parks and Recreation. So we are the lead agency of the Ridge to River system and oversee all the restoration efforts and trail management and trail development in the foothills. And then we also have a marketing and communications division that kind of threads everything together we have going on and promotes that to the public, so our citizens know what's out there, what they can take advantage of, and how to take advantage of it.
So 90 parks, 200 plus miles of trails, 25 miles of greenbelt, hundreds of acres of open space.
Actually, thousands.
Oh my gosh. And while we're on open space, I remember Stack Rock Trailhead being purchased by the city and developed. And wow, what a huge opportunity for recreation and access to Stack Rock now, because over the years, that's always been an issue.
Yep.
And so thank you for that investment. And then I saw that there's a new opportunity that's a little bit above Sweet Connie trailhead called Highland View, or
yeah, well, actually, so the Hawkins Range Reserve. So we have a series of properties we purchased about 5 to 7 years ago, 3 different parcels that we combined into what we refer to as the Hawkins Range Reserve. And so we're actually in the process of constructing a trailhead. It's right off Bogus Basin Road, about 7+ miles up Bogus Basin Road. And there will be a almost 6-mile loop that will take off from that trailhead. That will take you in a loop around through the reserve and back to the trailhead. And then we're also creating a smaller, about a 2.5-mile loop inside the 5.9-mile loop, so that those that don't want to go the full almost 6 miles, they can do a shorter trip, come back to the trailhead. But this is going to be a unique trail experience, because the trailhead itself is really a mini park, where we see people probably going to the Hawkins Range Reserve trailhead just to enjoy a picnic, the views of the valley down below, and maybe not even get out on the trail, but just pack up the kids and then head back down to the city. But those that want to get a little exercise, there will be one of our Ridge to Rivers trails, actually 2 of them, that will be in that reserve. So that's our latest one that we're working on now. We're almost done with the trail itself, and we'll probably won't be done with the trailhead until late fall or early spring.
That's so exciting. My eyes have been peeling over on that single track as soon as I started seeing the trails being built. And actually, the Boise Young Professionals put a Pulaski in the ground, I think a couple weekends ago, and helped with that. So that's so cool. Okay, pools and golf courses. Help educate us on those.
Sure. So we have the city owns and manages 6 outdoor swimming pools. They're all pretty much located in conjunction with elementary schools or high schools. So we have 4 that are in operation right now. The 2 that are not are South and Low Pool, which we are embarking on a design and reconstruction opportunity with the mayor and city council on trying to find the funding to either completely rebuild those pools with new pools, or bring the existing pools up to city code. They're both completely and totally outdated, not only in terms of meeting city code requirements on plumbing and electrical and a number of other deficiencies, but also they are completely out of compliance with ADA regulations. And so they're both above ground pools with no access but a stairwell to get to those pools. And so we've got a design done. And we're working closely with our public works team, which is taking the lead on that project. And we will be getting back with council probably in the next couple of months with an update on where we're at from a funding perspective, and hopefully can find funding into the future that we can get those pools up to speed, whether it's completely rebuilt or it's just brought up to speed from a code perspective. They both have significant historical, attributes, but probably more than that, they have a huge, Paul, nostalgic. I talk to people. In fact, more people I talk to don't say, please preserve these because they're historic. They say, please preserve these because I learned to swim there, or my grandkids did, or my kids did. So it really has this, both pools have this nostalgic thing attached to them. So we're working through all of that. But we have 4 other pools. They're all closing down now. I think we have 2 that are still open that will be through Labor Day. And then a little known fact, the city owns the Boise City Aquatic Center, which is located inside the West Family YMCA, which is out off Chinden and Discovery Way. So it's in West Boise. That pool's been in existence since 1998, I believe. But a lot of people aren't aware that that's a public indoor pool that you do not need to belong to the Y to go to. You can just walk into the front door there and you pay your daily fee, and you can take your whole family out into a beautiful little indoor complex that they have there at the Y. So it's a public owned pool, but it's managed by the YMCA. So they actually run the day-to-day operation. They do the scheduling, and they also absorb, any losses, because pools are big losers. They do not make money. You can never charge enough for your patrons to use them to recover the cost. So the Y absorbs that as a partner of the city. But by same token, it's a public pool that's open to the general public. So it's really an amenity we probably don't spend enough time promoting. But I want to get that out there to your viewers that, if you want to go take your children to an indoor pool, the YMCA at the West YMCA, that's the Boise City Aquatic Center. It's open and available to the public.
That's a beautiful space too. I've been in there several times. Golf courses. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So we have two courses in our inventory. We have the long-held Warm Springs Golf Course, which is arguably, Paul, one of the most popular courses in the Treasure Valley, if not the most popular course. We do somewhere around 55,000 rounds, which is as many rounds as any course in the Treasure Valley does. It is an amazing facility. It is nice and flat, but does have some challenges, but it's a great place to take your family, take your children. It's right on the green belt. You have a view of the foothills on one side and the Boise River on the other side. So the ambiance of this course is amazing. And it's been in, the city has owned the property since the 60s. And we've actually been in the golf business since the mid-90s, when we took that course back over from a long-term lease that some local businessmen had. When the lease was up, the city decided to get into the golf business, and we took it over at that point in time. And so it's been a great asset to the city. We have probably about 11 or 12% of our total tee times are allocated to youth. And when you look at what the PGA, the numbers they have nationally, that's in the 2 to 3% for youth, and that's 17 and under. And so we are blowing that out of the water, which is a good sign to show that we're building golfers in our community that are young children, that we're getting them into a healthy activity. And then the hope is they become adults, they will continue to to go to Warm Springs Golf Course. Back in 2014, we got a call from a gentleman in town by the name of Dave Hendrickson. Dave owned Quail Hollow Golf Course, and he called the city of Boise and said, "Are you interested in having the course? I'll just give it to you, but under the condition that it stays either a golf course or it's open space. So it can't be developed, can't be sold. Nothing else can happen there, but just open space for people to enjoy, or a golf course only." And the generosity of Dave has been amazing. He turned over a course to us that was in amazing condition. All the equipment was in A+ condition. It was making money. I mean, it's all the things that when it first happened, everybody's saying, well, Holloway, obviously there's a lot of problems with that course. It's losing money, and Paul, it was a gift that you never dream of getting something like that. Yeah. And he's been a great partner. He's put more money into it to help us with a lot of upgrades that we've been able to do. But Quail is a moneymaker for the city. It's an amazing facility. And we have full banquet facilities out there where we don't have a clubhouse at Warm Springs, but at Quail we do. Yep. So we can do weddings, parties, host all kinds of events. Because we have that space available to do that. And we hope someday we'll have it at Warm Springs too. But both courses, Paul, have been amazing assets to the city. And it's great because they're completely different. One is one of the most difficult courses to play in the city of Boise. That's Quail. And the other is one of the easier ones. That's Warm Springs. So they really complement as municipal courses. They really complement each other for our customers.
I love it, Doug. And what a great addition to the portfolio of the golf courses, and I'm so glad that the city is running those two. Hey, personally, Doug, I recreate in Morrison, out of all the parks besides Camel's Back, but Ann Morrison has this amazing fountain. And right now there's a chain link fence around it. And why don't you tell me and help educate the viewers a little bit more about what the project is at Ann Morrison Fountain?
So, Paul, the latest fountain there was developed, I believe, rebuilt. There was an original plan. It was kind of a flat fountain. It was more at grade with the plaza area that's out there, and then that ran its life cycle, and a new fountain was created. And in fact, Velma Morrison was the benefactor that actually donated the funding to be able to build that fountain in, I believe, was the early 90s. And but it was constructed at a time when fountains across the country weren't made as engaging as they are today. The fountains today are really like they encourage people using them. They encourage kids coming and participating in enjoying the water feature. And so we saw it as an opportunity to, when that fountain it was no longer functional for us, we saw an opportunity to actually create a fountain that will be engaging, that will be at ground level, that families can bring their children. And not only will you have the view of a beautiful fountain when it's all on and all the jets are working and you have all the streams and the tunnels and everything that this fountain will have, it'll be a beautiful postcard view. But now kids can actually run up and get in it and play in it. Whereas the fountain we had previously that has now been removed was at above grade. We actually even had signs on it that said, please don't play in the fountain, because if you fall out of that fountain, you will fall on your head on concrete. And it's probably not a good risk management opportunity for the city. And inside the fountain were all the nozzles as well. So it's not like you could get into the fountain and swim around and have fun. Right. It just wasn't made for interaction. And so we were real careful to work with the Harry Morrison Foundation, which is the family of Harry Morrison, who built this park and in his wife's name and donated it to the city back in the 60s. We worked closely with them on what the design would look like, and we talked to the neighborhood on a design, and we worked this into a master plan that we did 4 years ago for Ann Morrison Park as an upgrade. And so it's been in the books for several years, but we just now were able to get enough funding in place to be able to get it done. And so we're excited. It is on the home stretch right now, Paul. We're anticipating that it will be sometime in probably late September that it'll be done. We're probably going to miss the nice warm weather we've been having, so it won't be that engaging feature that we're going to see next summer, but we will be able to get it on and allow our citizens to see what it's going to look like. And then next summer, we'll look forward to getting it fired up when the weather turns and having families out here all day long at Ann Morrison Park playing in that water feature.
I tell you what, Ann Morrison has got to be the gem. In my opinion, there's lots of great things. You know, you have Catherine Albertson's, Julia Davis.
You can't ask me, Paul, to pick one, right? Are you coming to that right now? Is that what's going to be your next? What's my favorite park? I've been asked that, and it is really, really hard to do that, because what I share with people is all of our parks are like people. They have a unique personality in what they offer to our citizens and how they communicate and engage with our citizens. So, for example, Julia Davis Park is really our cultural park, where we have our museums, we have the Discovery Center, we have the zoo. It's kind of an education, cultural-based type of park. It's completely different. There's no baseball fields or softball fields or soccer fields at Julia Davis, whereas Ann Morrison is more of your outdoor, engaging, active park with a lot of outdoor sports related amenities like tennis courts and softball fields and bocce courts, and then open space areas where you can enjoy flying kites and doing other kinds of cool outdoor activities that you wouldn't be able to do at Julia Davis, because there's too many trees in Julia Davis to do much of anything except enjoy the shade and enjoy the culture of the park. But yet is a huge Julia Davis is like our original park, and it's such a huge interface to downtown and provides such unique opportunities for special events. And then you get, move a little bit over to Catherine Albertson. You've got this unique in the city, like an environmental based, type of environment. You've got wildlife. If you walk through the park and don't see deer running all over, you weren't watching. And there's every form of bird in that park, and just the solitude of the passive recreation opportunity it provides for our citizens in a park like that. And then when you get over to, to Esther Simplot, and you throw in Quinn's and the Whitewater Park in the river, and you start creating the amenity of that aquatic complex we have there, then you have this whole new dynamic that serves such a unique purpose to our citizens on a hot summer day during the summertime. And so if you ask me to pick my favorite, it's really hard to do that, but I really like Shree Buckner Webb Park with the pink tree in downtown, which is one of the latest ones we've cut the ribbon on, that has turned into an amazing amenity sandwich in between the old Boise Cascade building and the new building that Raffanelli Nahas has built next door. That just, it's an amazing, and it's such a great thing. Scott Shaner, who is a partner with that group, he and I talk quite a bit. And I just, when he built that building, I'm just like, Scott, this is ingenious, because it's going to shade, when the sun's out, it's going to shade the entire park. We don't even need a lot of shade trees here. You're going to block everything in the park. And he's like, I designed it that way.
Yeah.
Of course you did, Scott. But yeah, so we could go on all day just talking about the park piece, Paul, of what we have in our inventory for sure.
It's so cool. Saturday morning, I encourage everyone just to go down there right as the sun's coming up, because you'll hear bagpipers play. You'll have a cricket game going, and you'll see people getting out of the river all at the same time. So there's some great things going on that everyone can enjoy. It's just, oh my gosh, Ann Morrison, one of the faves. Hey, I want to make sure we stay on task here. Current projects and upcoming things. Doug, give me 2 minutes on that, will you?
You bet. And of course, Paul, you just named the fountain. That's one of our big projects that we have going on right now. But we also have a park. We have a master plan that has been created working closely with the neighborhood off Gary Lane. The name of that park is called Primrose Park, and it'll be the newest addition to our inventory. Right now, it is just a vacant 1.5 acre. I think it was probably 3 or 4 lots that we acquired a long time ago. So it's got the Jehovah's Witness Church on one side and houses around on the other side, but right on Gary Lane. The master plan has been approved by the Park and Recreation Commission a couple of months ago. And so we're working on getting materials ordered up, and we're going to start doing some site planning and mobilization in the next several weeks for that park. It won't be done until probably mid to late spring, but again, it'll be a nice little amenity for that neighborhood and that area of Boise. We also have Molinar Park splash pad that we're putting in there right now, and that should be completed before the end of fall, and that's been a great addition to our Southwest folks. And we're working on the implementation of the master plan for Zoo Boise, and we're ready to launch our phase 1 of that with our Friends of Zoo Boise team that is raising funding for that. And then I want to say, you mentioned in our talk before we came on the air about after school programming, we're opening our newest after school community center site we call Kid City, and it'll be at Hillcrest Elementary School, and that will launch on October 1st. So we'll provide free out of school programming for children that attend Hillcrest Elementary School starting October 1st.
Wow. There are so many things that Boise Parks and Recs offers, and just to highlight a few, you've got, not to mention the golf courses and the pools. Idaho Ice World also is under your direction, Doug.
Yep, Ice World is part of our recreation division and is doing awesome. We're having what we consider a record year out there, which just tells you the interest in our community in hockey and in figure skating, and in just overall having opportunities to get on a sheet of ice and enjoy some time with the family. It's great exercise, but we're really doing well out there, and pleased with the management team we have there and the partnerships that we have out there as well.
Anybody watching, the website is scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and I encourage everyone that's interested in learning more about the City of Boise Parks and Rec Department. They've got so many different classes. My wife and I just signed up for a dance class.
You did, Paul?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I was just going to say, this is our activity guide. Our new fall activity guide just came out 2 weeks ago. And so it's 63 pages, and it's just chock full of all kinds of activities from preschool to our older adult population, and everything in between. And it's cultural based, it's art based, it is activity based, it's recreation. It's just opportunities to get people out of the house and doing things that will improve your wellness and your overall fitness level. So I encourage you, if you don't have the guide, you can go online at cityofboise.org/parks, and you can get all the information. It's you can upload the activity guide right off your onto your computer and look at all the classes we have to offer and take advantage of all the things that we have going on.
That's Boise. Healthy lifestyle, healthy living. Thanks, Doug, for your time today. Boise City Parks and Rec does it the best. Thank you again, Doug, for your time today.
Well, I appreciate it, Paul. Thank you for having us on. And anytime, we'd love to come on, because quite honestly, you just scratched the surface. So we're going to need to get back together, I think, and probably do this again and get the rest of it out there on the table.
I love it. How about you and we do a lunch and learn with the young professionals, and then all the new folks moving in just don't know about it yet, right? You have your folks that have been here a long time and they understand it and they know it and they know how to get the information. But for anyone who's new in the last 5-10 years, Parks and Rec, put them up against anybody in the country. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Paul. Thank you.
Bye.